Hey, welcome to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian, Noel. Big show today, a lot to get to. Our guest today, well, so I got this email from a viewer, Eric Chavez, and he says, hey man, how come you've never had a soccer guy on? And so I don't want to be slapped with that anti-soccer label like at all, because I'm a huge soccer guy. Like my first dog was named Schweinsteiger, so I am a soccer guy. And my guest today is University of Maryland bound Marcus Garcia. Marcus, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First soccer guest, man. Like I don't want to get that. You know how soccer fans are, man. You wouldn't want them to label you, bro. Like they're nuts.
They're nuts.
Like let's start there. You know what really bothers me is the American soccer fan, like that thinks like they watch like 8 or 9 games and now all of a sudden they're the expert. Like they get pissed when you don't call it a pitch, all that nonsense. Like they're the worst.
Yeah, I've never really been like that. Usually I stick to the normal terms, but the people out there, I guess like in England, because most of my coaches have been from there. And the terms they use were just like, they boggled my mind the first times I heard them.
I think it's too much, man. Like sometimes, like, like I'll watch it and I'll dig the broadcasters sometimes. Like I think Chris Hurst does an amazing job on the television side for United. Now I think the British guy that does United on the radio, I think he's awful. Like he just, it's overkill, doesn't know anything about soccer. Like I don't even know, like I think he played rugby.
Chris Hurst,
but Chris Hurst is phenomenal. Like I'll take Chris Hurst all day.
Yeah.
Like that's the soccer fan I can handle. But like there's the other one, like they're nuts, man. Those are crazy people.
Yeah, Chris Hurst was he's been my longtime coach.
Okay, there you go.
Over at Rio, so it's kind of cool hearing his voice on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It keeps it interesting, huh?
But it's funny because you hear Chris and like, okay, so that's the good Englishman. But then you hear the radio guy and you're like, oh, this is not good. Anyway, we got off on a tangent there. But thank you for coming in. You probably saved me in the soccer community, finally having a soccer guest. But more to you than soccer. So I was golfing a couple of days ago with a couple of buddies of yours. I didn't know they were your friends, but Jordan Martinez and Gio Casals. And they said you're pretty much like a comedian, a wannabe comedian. They told me to ask you about your TikTok, like that you're like the funniest guy on campus. Is that true?
I mean, I have a pretty witty sense of humor, I'd say.
Okay.
Especially with them, I'm pretty comfortable with them.
So what's the best stuff you've ever put out then on your TikTok? Because they said it's like some epic stuff. I mean,
yeah, they really put me on the spot.
Yeah,
okay.
They did.
I don't know. See, I just put, like, I'll have an idea, I just won't think about it. It'll just come to me, and if I find it funny, like, I find it funny. They, like, other people don't have to.
That's mine.
But
too,
yeah,
man.
but they share a sense of comedy that's the same as me. So
yeah, if I'm laughing, it's okay. I don't think the audience likes some of my jokes either.
I'm gonna have to ask them about that.
And they told me to bring up your wisdom tooth, but I'm not going to do that because that could be embarrassing. All right, let's get into some soccer. Obviously, you committed to Maryland. Take us through that process.
So starting at freshman year, we went up there as a trip, like a team trip with our high school team. Coach AJ took the team up there. We got to tour the campus and watch the game versus UCLA. That was actually a crazy game. There was like 10,000 people there. And they won in overtime, and everybody's going nuts. I was like, this is a really cool place. So then the recruiting process still hadn't really started. I was just getting generic emails like all freshmen do. And sophomore, junior year, I started getting more personalized. And I was talking to a few other schools. And then my brother was at UNM my sophomore year, so I was like, growing up in New Mexico, you want to go there, and then your brother goes there, so it's, you seem like you really want to do it, and then their program gets cut, so then you don't know what to do. And I started just like...
Well, let's stay there for a moment. I mean, since you brought it up, because that's a very interesting topic that I did want to get to later. Soccer, probably more so than a lot of other sports here in New Mexico, that was a target destination for high school kids, right? Yeah. It's not like, usually you see our big football players and they just want to get out of state, and it's like that in a lot of sports. But soccer, Coach Fishbein had that thing rolling. So that was a destination for local kids, right? So talk about that and how, I mean, what did, your thoughts when kind of everything went kaput?
So I was actually, because I couldn't drive at the time, so I was riding home with my dad from practice. And we'd gotten a call from my brother, and he was like, we just got word that your soccer team's like up there for getting cut. We probably are. And then 2 weeks later, there's all these gatherings, with like all the club kids, high school kids, and they went up to that, I think it was like a meeting where they just kind of protested kind of. And then, so then they were like devastated. So
I mean, because really you talk about the soccer scene in New Mexico, and between UNM, I mean, I just think it would have been so cool if we could have had UNM and United going at the same time.
Yeah.
It kind of would have created a pathway where you never really have to leave. You know, you could do your collegiate thing there, and then possibly the next stepping stone is United.
Yeah.
That's got to be a goal for most young
And
soccer kids, right?
United's kind of done that without the college because they now brought in that academy stuff.
Right.
It's the first year at that. So kind of, but it still takes away the experience because there's a lot of great local kids here.
So obviously, once you saw UNM was off the table, I mean, let's pick up where you left off. Then, so what else? You know, where in your recruiting process? That happened your sophomore year, you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I couldn't talk to schools till my junior year. So between the end of my sophomore year season to about October, until when I committed my junior year, there was a big span of where just coaches were contacting me and I was talking to them. And some big ones that I liked were like I was in contact with Washington, Denver, what else? Then those were the two big ones that I liked.
So what goes into that decision? Obviously, you talked about the environment there at Maryland. I mean, not a lot. You know, UNM was known for having a pretty good program and pretty decent attendance, and that was a couple thousand. But you talk about 10,000 at Maryland.
Yeah.
Probably you can count the colleges that draw that kind of crowd for men's soccer on one or two hands, right?
Yeah.
But that can't be the only thing that goes into the decision. So talk about everything that goes into the decision.
So we looked, and then so the culture behind the team, you know, they're a really close group of guys from what I've been told and what I've talked to them about. And then they have some good academic programs. And then, yeah, just probably pretty much the culture. They kind of treat you like family, like once you're in there.
Now, obviously, your coach played there, so did
Yeah.
he do some steering?
He opened the door to get me to get in contact with them. And then once I was in contact with them, I had to prove myself to them by sending videos. They came to watch me play. So he definitely did open a door to get into contact.
We have some of those highlights that we could, our director Josh can pull those up here in a second. And why don't you kind of talk us through these as they're being played?
Okay.
But I don't know how much we're going to see here. But go
So
ahead.
This was against Farmington. This was the first game back.
Like this is upper V. I mean, this is Lewandowski stuff here. Man.
So yeah, this one it was that was my first game back, and I'd hurt my back I'd been out for 3 weeks, and that one was just same one. I think that was my second goal of the game. This was against Valencia. It was a district game. I think it was one of our last ones. This was an assist. It would have been. The keeper had a good save, got a good hand. This one, it was a PK against Valencia again. I cut in, and he clipped me on my back, but they were good sports about it because I think it was already like 2-0.
That looked a little light. I don't know if I would have given you that one. But, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
It's pretty blurry. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, you know.
This one was against La Cueva. It's pretty cool. I love playing La Cueva because I know like Noah Daniels right there. Center back's Carson's one of my best friends. But they call that a foul. I don't think so. This one, that was some good stuff up top, and I played it. I love playing against Cueva. Oh, this was a goal. I still give my friend Evan Modal crap about that.
That was nice. That was a nice volley there, man.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got here?
This is me and my friend Michael with some nice interplay in the middle, and just playing it back out. I like playing high school a lot because AJ he lets me be a little more loose. But this one was, they called this out because they said I hit him, but I don't think so. This one was against Grant. I had to give my boy Frankie the assist. He was happy about that. What else? Coleman. Big shout out to Coleman in goal. I think this one was a big, not a big game, but a big scoring game. It was like 11-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was the opponent on that day?
That was Grant's. And then say Grant's again.
Well, yeah, if there's 11 goals, I'm thinking we might see a couple of them here. So 13 games, 18 goals, 10 assists the last season you played. The year before that, 14 games, 19 goals, 9 assists. You kind of mentioned a little bit you like playing the system that Coach Herrera has for you there in high school. What's the difference, high school club soccer? What's the difference?
They're actually very similar because Coach AJ works, he's in contact with a lot of my club coaches. So they both communicate on coaching me and they take notes from each other. So it's really, really similar. But I think with high school, there's a little more room for me to move around on the field, whereas club, we have some really, really, really talented players where I wouldn't be doing anything if I moved to a different position.
Now, you mentioned your brother briefly, obviously playing for UNM, so you have a pretty athletic family. Talk about that.
So my dad, he went to Pius, and he played basketball there. He coached for a few years. Then my mom, she grew up in Santa Fe, and she played volleyball over there. And then my brother, he obviously went to UNM, and when that got cut, he moved over to University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley down in Texas. And then he just didn't like it there at all. So now he's in Hawaii playing.
Well, that's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Rio Grande Valley to Hawaii, yeah, I'd say that's a little upgrade.
Yeah. And then my uncle was the coach at Albuquerque High, Ron Garcia. So, and then little Victor Garcia, he was the assistant.
I'm sure he'll appreciate you calling him Little Victor.
Well, that's what we call him.
Now I know. That is something you should have never told me. Now I know. Obviously, this should have been your senior year, correct?
Yes.
So, it seems like the more athletes I'm talking to, the more of them are coming to the realization that there's not going to be a high school season. Are you at that point? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
So, with that in mind, what are you doing away from the high school scene, obviously, to stay ready?
So obviously, since there's a lot of kids back, I'm working with them, just getting training in. Ever since quarantine started, I've been going every day, doing work.
And what's that? Because like soccer work is more than, because soccer, you got to be pretty much more fit than most other sports, right? So
so it's two types of things. I do one with a friend of mine, and we go out and we do some speed work. And then the next day and the following days, I'll meet up with some friends who are coming back from like the Columbus Crew Academy or the Rapids Academy, or even playing in college, even with my brother. We'll go and we'll start and we'll do some ball work, like weaving through cones. We'll do some setting, finishing. We'll do some dribbling, one-on-ones, just a lot. And then we'll try and get pickup, like 3v3, just to get some game scenarios.
Right. Has that been a challenge, COVID, to stay ready to get all the work in, or you're just so in tune, you're good?
I think it motivated me a little more because I know that a lot of kids could either decide to not work anymore or some could decide to elevate it. So I decided to elevate it.
You mentioned you're a soccer fan as well, so did you keep up with the FIFA awards at all here?
I heard about a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can probably tell which one bothers me by the number of German names I've dropped, right?
Lewandowski?
No, Lewandowski got the win like he should have, right? And of course, the goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer, won like he should have. How does a coach that wins 5 trophies, has more trophies than losses, not get best coach, and they give it to some guy from England? See, this is why I have a problem with these British soccer guys, man. Because they gave it to Jurgen Klopp again, and not
they gave it to Klopp?
Yeah, not Hans-Dieter Flick, not Hansi Flick. Yeah. Like if your coach AJ won 5 titles in a year, you would think he'd be coach of the year, right?
Yeah.
Not some guy over in England, right? Well, we'll close on that. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Marcus, thanks for coming in, man. Good luck the rest of the way. Good luck. I know you're heading out of town for club, and then good luck as a Terrapin. And thank you for being our first soccer guest of the program. We'll take a quick timeout. Come right back with Amaya Brown.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris. JJ. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, wild catch. Not a defender inside. A little bit. Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
So they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
I want to thank Marcus Garcia for stopping by. My next guest needs really no introduction. I've been PAing for basketball since 2002, 4 years now at ProView. She's still the standard bearer for which I compare all girls basketball players to the best I've ever seen in New Mexico, Amaya Brown. Amaya, welcome back to the show.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
We got a lot to get to. So I want to talk about your first impressions when you get to campus. What's that all about? Tell us about that.
Oh, at FSU?
Yeah.
Our campus is really big. A lot of garnet everywhere. You see a lot of Seminole heads everywhere. But campus is beautiful. Honestly, one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen. So it's just a really nice campus.
What about your first basketball impression of just, the program, coach, practice, the whole 9 yards? What were your first impressions of that?
It's just like a family there. Like everything is very family oriented. They make you feel welcomed. Just like a great place to be.
What was the first kind of, real like, oh gosh, I'm here now and it's here? Like, what was that first aha like?
It was honestly like my first college basketball game. I was real nervous. It's like, wow, I'm actually like playing D1 college basketball. So that was really a shocker.
And did you have something to compare that to? I mean, because when was the last time you were nervous for a basketball game before that?
I've never been nervous for a basketball game until I got to college.
Right.
Yeah.
And, what were some things that you maybe weren't ready for or didn't expect that even caught you off guard a little bit, or were there any?
The speed of the game. The speed is a lot faster. And in the ACC, all the guards are quick. Like, you just got to adjust to the speed.
And how was that adjustment period? I mean, what?
I would say the adjustment was pretty easy because the seniors that were seniors at the time, they were really fast and they were like aggressive. So me guarding them all the time in practice just made me better.
And when did you kind of start to feel like, all right, man, I'm here. It's good. I'm comfortable. Like, did you settle in right away? Like, game 2, game 3. Like, when?
It's obviously like an adjustment. Like, when we came in as freshmen, the 5 freshmen I came in with, it was all like an adjustment. So you got used to it by, I'd say preseason.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you had an injury setback. So what was that? I mean, that had to kind of.
Yeah, that set me back a little bit. Of course, it's a setback, but I'm getting stronger. So I got 3 more years to play. So, yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit because, technically this could be a free year, right, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing, so a couple months ago, or I guess it's been longer than that now, but, I think young African-American athletes kind of just thrown out there to the forefront when, you know, some crazy stuff started happening, and obviously that, you know, that hit home with you guys at Florida State as well. So talk about, you know, a young black athlete's role when the Black Lives Matter thing kind of started.
It's like very important to us because like if you don't support our movement, you just don't support us as athletes. So we take that very seriously and just like we matter too, and just support us basically.
What were those discussions like in the locker room and in the program?
The discussion, we had discussions like with our coaches and with like other people that came and spoke to us about it, and it was just a real positive and stuff.
Like what goes into, you know, I mean, you want to obviously present a united message as a team, right? But those things can be tough at times. So was there, I mean, what did you guys kind of do to rally everyone and make sure it was a united message for the team?
So we all did a little message like on our FSU Instagram page. We all did a message and it was real positive. And then we also have United shirts for our basketball games. We wear them as shooting shirts and they say United on them. So yeah.
Personally, I mean, did you deal with any kind of, you know, when you were younger, when you were here, or even before that, or even there? I mean, is that something you've dealt with personally yourself, the racism like that?
I've dealt with some racism when I was younger. I haven't really dealt with it since I've been in Florida or anything, just mostly while I was here in Albuquerque, mostly.
And what did you think when that kind of all hit the fan in the bubble, when, you know, the one game was canceled, then the NBA is forced to cancel everything, players kind of regroup and put together, I thought was a pretty good message. They had the voice at that point, obviously, in the bubble. What did you think of all that, the way that the NBA players handled that?
I think they handled it very well, very professional, and I was with it. A lot of people like supported it, so I honestly think they did a good job.
Now, it's funny, the league that really is about change and about social justice, probably a league that you have your eye on, and that's the WNBA, right? So they've been about these issues for a lot longer than, you know, before it became cool for the NBA guys to speak about this. WNBA has been talking about that for a long time. So, I mean, talk about that a little bit, right?
Yeah, the WNBA supporting is very important just because a lot of people don't support like women's basketball, but honestly, I think they did a good job, just like the NBA.
Since we, you know, kind of have that WNBA thing on the table now, I mean, when do you start to think of post-collegiate basketball? When does that creep into your mind?
It's been creeping through my mind since I was a little kid, but now that it's getting closer, you know, starting to be more serious about it.
Now, are you thinking like WNBA, or are you like, I'm hearing you can make bank in China?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
like, tell me about that. Like, these women are making more money in China than they would if they played in the United States, which is pretty crazy, but tell me about that.
I think it's very cool. Like, me, myself, I want to play overseas just because, you know, they make more money, and also the WNBA, so I think it would be a good opportunity.
Like, I don't know, like, a lot of WNBA players were kind of trying to do both before because the money was so good in China, they'd go over there and then they'd have a WNBA season. That's something you would ever entertain?
Yeah, I would do it.
So, but you obviously you got some years left, like you said. So I mean, how has this COVID thing been for you guys at FSU? I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit before the show, but so how many times a week are you guys getting tested?
We get tested 3 times a week.
And how, I mean, how's that? Take us through that. That's pretty.
I mean, it can be annoying at sometimes, but you know, whatever to keep like the team safe, and like we just gotta follow protocols so we can play and stuff.
What, I mean, how else has it impacted the team?
I mean, it's impact. I don't know. It's just it gets annoying at sometimes, like having to test, get up early in the morning, have to go test. But you know, we all want to play, so whatever it takes, you know, we don't care. We just want to play.
Right. And I mean, games getting canceled left and right. Have you guys been affected by? Has FSU been affected by that yet? Or
yes, we had some games canceled in non-conference. Yeah, we had a couple of games canceled, and we've only played a total of 3 or 4 games. So, and we had to practice a lot. Just games getting canceled is kind of frustrating, but you know.
So you just want to play, like enough.
But everybody wants to play.
Right?
Yeah, everybody wants to play.
So now, technically, this is a free year for everybody, right? So how does that work? Everyone could gain an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
Is that something you have to apply for? Or is that an automatic thing?
I think it's like an automatic thing. Like if you want to, you can have it. If you don't, you don't have to do it.
Okay. Now, I don't know if I mean, you've been back in town. I don't know if you caught the show a couple of weeks ago, but the little brother was on the show, right?
Yeah, he was on the show.
Have you been like, you know, have you been schooling him while you're back, or how does that go when you come back?
We haven't really played one-on-one, you know, but, you know, I'm going to get him when we play again.
Like one-on-one, you guys played right now one-on-one. I mean, how much do you think you win by?
I feel like I'll win by like 3. He's kind of tough now.
Wow.
You know, he's bigger than me, stronger. You know, it's kind of tough to beat him now. So
No, he still
I say I'll beat him by 3 points.
still looks pretty small over there, you know. So I mean, what's that like? Family gets back together. Obviously, you got two huge basketball stars in the house. So I mean, what's that like to be back with the family together?
Very competitive. Me, my dad, my brother, even my mom, we're all competitive. So
give us that best kind of competitive. Like, has there been an instance in the last week or so?
No.
Since you've been back, nothing.
No, not
All
yet.
lovey-dovey.
Yeah, it's all lovey-dovey
It's
right
kinda
now.
Boring TV though. So give me an old one then. Like, what stands out the most? Like as a really super competitive thing that you and Amaya have shared.
Well, Amari told a story on when he was on the show. He claims he beat me.
So this is the fact check version of that story. All right, perfect.
He claims he beat me, you know. See, I just came back from my ACL injury, and
I
he
had your
beat
back
me
on
by,
that, if
yeah,
you
you have
remember
my
the
back on
story,
that
yeah.
one, and he beat me, you know, I was pretty mad about it, but I'm gonna give it to him, I guess.
That's like saying you beat Kareem, but like now when he's like 85, right? Like it doesn't count. So how cool is it though to kind of now you get to watch him try to accomplish pretty much what you did? I mean, how cool is that?
It's actually really cool. Like, I'm just like a proud sister. Just seeing him grow into the player he's becoming is really cool to watch. And just like seeing him grow and play against the best players in the country and everything, it's just really cool.
Like, have you gotten the phone call yet? Like when you were still in Florida, like, hey sis, like, what do I do here? Or what? Have you gotten one of those yet? Or does he seek you out yet for advice?
Yeah, he seeks me out. He'll be like, oh, I got a game tomorrow. Like, what do you think I should do? I just be like, just shoot a pull-up. That's all you got to do. Just shoot a pull-up jumper. Yeah, his pull-up jumper is nice. That's all you got to do.
Could you imagine, though, the pressure, right? Like, if you had come second and he was first, obviously he's got a lot to live up to now, right?
Yeah, he has a lot to live up to, but I think he'll be fine. Like, he watched me go through it, so I feel like he'll know exactly what to do when he's getting recruited by these big-time schools. So I feel like he'll be fine.
Lastly, what's this kind of like? You get to break right around Christmas time because you don't have any games right now, but you go back pretty quick, right? So what's that? That's got to be. I mean, that's unique to the basketball season that the break is right there in the middle. Usually you'd be playing now, right? Or you would have had these 2 days off.
We would have had these 2 days off.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So what's the
we
break
have a
usually?
longer break than we usually have, but yeah, we would have been off right now.
So what's the break usually like? Do you always come back?
I always come back, but usually for like 3 days.
Right.
I get 5 days this time.
So what's the closest you've been to New Mexico as far as playing? Like, I mean, because you guys haven't been anywhere close, have you?
I haven't been on this side
Right.
in a while.
So you go
The
back.
closest, I don't know, the closest? No, I haven't been on this side.
Well, we wish you the best of
Actually,
luck.
no. We played at TCU last year. Yeah. We played in Texas.
I mean, it would be cool to see you, at the pit, but I don't think Coach Bradbury is going to be lining up to schedule a real opponent anytime soon. Oh, yeah, I did say that. So you don't have to comment on that. You don't have to comment on that. But I don't think UNM's going to, be lining up to schedule Florida State anytime soon. But that would be pretty cool. Well, hey, stay healthy. Best of luck the rest of the way, and thanks for checking in with us, and thank you for stopping by.
No problem.
And thank you for watching. Good night, and we'll see you next week, everybody.